Howdy folks, Max Caveman here, bringing you back to my TCG Victory Road for 2025. Now this is this is obviously the second challenge that I have attended this season. A big thing about this event is we have a best of one. This is a night event, so there is obviously a bit of a time constraint, so best of one is ideal here. Now, I did run back Regidrago because this was the next day after my the first event, so the 22nd of July. So we had 5 rounds to this night, so let's see how we did. Like always, I do have my book with all my records. So start the night off against an ancient box. This is a combination of basically just a whole bunch of ancient names in the deck, and just set it up for Rory Moon, the little Rory Moon with Vengeance Fletching. There's attack. Interesting enough, I playing Regidrago again. I was confident in this matchup. I thought I was doing well, and a big thing was the digging power that I had in this match. I dug so far down into my deck that I end up with 4 cards left, and my opponent, out of nowhere, gets a Land Collapse Great Tusk, and then attach an energy for turn, and uses Professor Star's Vitality to Land Collapse the last 4 cards out of my deck, causing me to lose to deck out Rulings for round number 1. Definitely a different strategy. I haven't faced this exact sort of version of Ancient Box. I'm more used to the Ancient Box where it's just moons basically. The Little Moon, the Vengeance Fletching, and then the Frenzied Gouging Rory Moons. So yeah, definitely a bit interesting facing off against that one. Moving on to round 2. Now this is an interesting one because the player didn't actually have a deck before the event. So at the store that I went to, Good Games Rockingham, we have a learn to play before during the afternoon for basically kids or anyone that's wanting to learn how to play. And basically my opponent for round 2, not having a deck, chose one of these decks to play. Now these decks are not meant to be hyper competitive or reasonably viable against the meta. They just picked a deck that they thought they liked and played it. So they end up playing a Skeledirge Arcanine EX deck. The main thing just being getting up the fire Pokemon as fast as possible. My opponent didn't attack for 3 turns, letting me set up my dragons, and then I just simply started phantom diving once I got enough set up, and then just took the small little things on the bench, like stacking up against Fuekokos and Growlithe. So yeah, it was a fairly easy win for me there. Moving on to round 3, we are facing off against a Chien-Pao list. Now this is Chien-Pao with Baxcalibur and Iron Hand, but a new thing that has been popping up is running the Runaway Draw to Dunsparce. So that is actually quite an interesting addition that I was not expecting. This didn't go well for me. I would have loved this to have been a best of 3. just because I know how fast Chen Pao can get energy out of the deck onto it and taking knockouts. So I started setting up a benched Regidrago, and my opponent, knowing to deal with the Regidragos with the most number of energies, just started to uh, get that out into the active and then take that one out and deal with it. And I knew that I needed specifically a Mew EX out of my deck, so I went late game to I Ultra Balled for a Mew EX, and sadly my Mew was prized, so I ended up just scooping because there was a game already set up through my opponent's board and that sort of stuff. So yeah, end up losing against Chen Pao. Moving on to round 4, we are facing off against Turbo Hands. So this is I believe it's all Futuremons. I didn't get to see all of them, but basically you are powering up your Iron Hands thanks to peak acceleration, and your peak acceleration is boosted by Future Booster capsules and your Iron Crowns on the bench. So you can do up to, they were doing 100 damage for a 1 energy attack and getting the energies out of the deck. So they started off pretty strong. I was still in the mindset of power up the bench, just while I dug for the necessary energy switches that I needed to get everything going. And through the game, I simply was setting up knockouts. My opponent ends up taking 3 prize turns thanks to the Iron Hands EX. I basically set my opponent to nothing. I was setting up a Covert Flight lock, and I had it installed, but they, first time with the Covert lock, they used Iron Bundle's Hyper Blower ability to get it out of the active, and then the second time, which cost me the game, they top decked Boss's Orders for turn, and then went in and used Amp You Very Much for knockout, giving me a loss in round 4, and that was a big loss. Basically, if I had because of that loss, I kind of didn't have a chance of making top cut. So that did sting a little bit, and my opponent did drop after this event. Because after that round, that was when the store should have been shutting, but we still had one more game to go, so we were running very late for the event. And in round 5, we end up facing off against a Miraidon Zapdos. So this was mostly the Miraidon Zapdos pre-constructed deck. This player is fairly new to the game. I was there when they picked up the deck a couple weeks ago at the time of recording. So yeah, they were very new. Their first challenge as well. So they're just a couple of things needed to go right. I foolishly started powering up the bench. I feel like that's what I've been tending to do lately, is start powering up a benched mon rather than the active, simply because I know I need a couple of turns to get going. However, my opponent was even slower getting set up. They opened a Poor Me for their Poor Mott EX that I had in the deck, and then top deck Miraidon started manually attaching and using their electric generators, not hitting much to power up a Iron Hands on the bench, and their Miraidons and their Zapdos, they were all just constantly getting powered up. And I was powering up at the same time, putting a whole bunch of energies every which way onto my Pokemon. It was a bit annoying because I had Prime Catcher permanently glued to the bottom of my deck every single time I did a deck check. It was the very bottom card, so my opponent was cutting the deck very well. Luckily for them, it ultimately came down to a they had taken a knockout. Oh, sorry, no, they had set up a Hawlucha, which is the Hawlucha that does damage when it hits the field, and they slapped a Legacy Energy on it. Now, a big thing is I knew Prime Catcher was still in my deck, and I used Professor's Research, discarded my entire hand to guarantee drawing the Prime Catcher because I was going to run out of cards in deck. So I did that, and then Prime Catchered, took the knockouts thanks to Raging Bolt. It is always fun having Raging Bolt's attack be the last one, doing a full 700 damage. So yeah, that was a interesting event, to say the least. A bit different from the previous event. I ended up going 2-3, not too bad. A couple of the games that I could easily see where my win was in just a couple of turns, or if a certain card didn't come out, then game was most likely mine. So yeah, definitely a bit annoying not getting the win there or points. So yeah, we even with the top 8, there was a bubble 4-3-2. So even if I did win against any of my losses and didn't manage to get the 4-1 because of the difference in pairings, who knows if I would have made got points. So it is a bit of a shame. I ended up placing 16th out of 25 players, so not bad overall. It is still extremely early, obviously being the second challenge that I've attended, so I have a lot to look forward to. The next event that I have up is a cup, which is in a couple of days as of recording. So yeah, this week we have 3 events. Yeah, so definitely going to be a long week, and we do have a chance of top 16 for this cup. So I'm going to be doing some testing. Hopefully we do well for that event. But that being said, hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully I've given a little insight into what is being played at this time. But that being said, I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you all next time. See ya.